Welcome back to Z-Static. I'm Zach Sprinkle. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down in a little further detail what I eat in a day. So if you didn't catch my last video entitled What I Eat in a Day, I'm going to put a link in the description below so you can check that out. So in today's video, I just want to break down a little further and give you guys a little better understanding of what I eat and why I eat it. So stay tuned, let's begin. For those of you just tuning in, I eat what's called a carnivore diet. I'm sure many of you are familiar with it. It's basically an animal-based diet where you eat muscle meats, organ meats, eggs, and honey. And that's pretty much all I eat. No vegetables, no fruit, so getting no fiber, obviously no grains, anything like that. So it is a version of a ketogenic diet. And I want to stress that this is by no means related to look a certain way. Throughout my history of 22 years of playing around with dieting, bodybuilding, getting cut up, bulking, and all this and that, I mean, it's really possible to build muscle and lose fat no matter what types of foods you're eating to an extent. You can be eating junk food, and if you have appetite control and you're doing enough cardio and you're hitting the weight room, you can still build some muscle, trim down, and kind of look great. But I think we can all agree that just because somebody is like ripped with a six-pack, they don't always look healthy. Sometimes people, when they're very ripped, just kind of look sick. And so I want to really reiterate that this diet has nothing to do with dropping body fat, even though that is a benefit, because once your body is burning fat, you have your fuel source on you at all times. You don't have to eat as much, so your body kind of tells you when you need to eat, and it's not getting false signals from eating too many carbohydrates and then running out of that fuel and then telling you you're hungry again when you have literally 50, 60,000 calories of fat ready to burn already on your body. So with all that being said, burning fat for energy is a big benefit of really any type of ketogenic diet. However, all the ketogenic diets that I had done in the past left me feeling, I wouldn't say that I was out of energy or lethargic, but just a little slow. My workouts suffered a little bit from it. I just felt like something really just wasn't firing right. However, when I was on a ketogenic diet, I always felt better as far as like the inflammation goes. So it was pretty frustrating because when I first found the ketogenic diet, I was just waiting for my body to adapt and my energy levels to increase a little bit. However, it never really happened. So I never really stayed on the ketogenic diet for a very long time up until now, up until I eliminated not only the vegetables and all, it's all the plant foods, even coconut oil, macadamia nut oil, olive oil, all these plant oils that I was consuming also seem to be kind of playing a factor with my energy levels. So we'll get into like fat metabolism and all that in a different video, as well as I want to mention in one of my previous videos, I also mentioned that I do intermittent fast. Now, intermittent fasting was also something I had toyed around with quite a bit. However, I always found myself incredibly hungry come mid-morning. Like I was starving. I always felt depleted. I felt weak. So intermittent fasting was something that I also just couldn't quite stick with because my body was just telling me, dude, you need to eat, dude, you need to eat. So when I started the carnivore diet and I decided to eliminate all vegetables, intermittent fasting was the furthest thing from my mind. However, on the second day, I woke up just not hungry. I felt great all day long, and around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I started feeling a little bit of hunger. And so I was like, you know what, maybe this, because intermittent fasting definitely has a lot of proven benefits. It's a very, valuable tool, even if you're not doing it full time. It's a very valuable tool to use from time to time to cut down inflammation. It has a lot of anti-aging effects. It's good for your hormone levels. So intermittent fasting is something that just kind of accidentally happened as, I wake up in the mornings, I can train, and then I can go to work and I can run errands, and I've been going all day long, but I don't really get hungry until about 2 o'clock, and then same thing, I'm not hungry all afternoon, and then when it's dinner time, my body tells me, okay, you're ready for some more food. Intermittent fasting is a fascinating topic that we'll be getting into future videos. However, let's focus right now on what I eat and why I eat it. So let's start off with the meat. The muscle meat and the organs always comes from ruminant animals. And the reason that I want to eat ruminant animals, and what are ruminants? Ruminants are cows, deer, elk, buffalo, yak, things of that sort. These animals that are classified as ruminants have 4 stomachs. So what that means is they have a very complex digestive system. The meat they produce and the fats they produce are very clean and well balanced and very nutrient dense. On the other hand, pigs and chickens don't have this complex digestive system, and as a result, their meat isn't as healthy. Red meat's higher in vitamins and minerals, as well as the quality of the fat. The fat contains more fat-soluble vitamins, as well as the ratio of saturated fat to monounsaturated fat to the polyunsaturated fats is incredibly beneficial. As a matter of fact, if you're getting plenty of beef fat, you don't need to supplement any other type of fat in your diet. What about when it comes to fish? Well, fish is very healthy, no doubt about it. If you can find clean fish that doesn't come from polluted oceans, then yeah, fish is an amazing source of nutrients, totally fit for human consumption. The problem is finding, fish that won't, if you consume it on a daily basis, eventually lead to some heavy metal toxicity. I don't eat a lot of fish because I just really don't prefer fish. I'll take beef over fish any day. And on that note too, let's touch base on fish oils. Now, if you're getting your fish oil from eating actual fish, it's actually very healthy for you, anti-inflammatory, but a lot of the times through the bottling process, these oils sit around for a while. So if you're taking fish oil as a supplement, it's very hard, almost impossible to tell if it has oxidized or not, or at least to what degree is it oxidized, because this stuff is not very regulated. So if you're taking oxidized fish oil, this can actually lead to things like organ damage, and it can also be pro-inflammatory. Oxidized fatty acids are bad. True overall health on an animal-based diet requires the consumption of organ meat. We need to have a nose to tail approach here. When it comes to organs, there are 3 heavy hitters that I include in my diet every day. That's liver, kidney, and bone marrow. And I don't go crazy with these. I have about 1 ounce each. That's plenty. That's going to fill in the nutritional gaps, as well as I won't run the risk of any vitamin A toxicity. The whole point of going animal-based with your diet is to eliminate plant toxins from your body. So it would only make sense that we do our cooking without any olive oil, avocado oil, or coconut oil, and replace it with beef tallow. And again, I use beef tallow over duck fat or pig fat for the same reason I talked about earlier. The quality of the fats is just higher. And contrary to what a lot of people think, animal fats, beef fat is not purely saturated fat. When we look at the numbers, beef tallow is 40% saturated fat, 45% monounsaturated fat, and 5% polyunsaturated fats. So we don't want to demonize animal fats for being quote unquote saturated when they're actually far less saturated than fats that a lot of people use every day, like coconut oil, which is about 85 to 90% saturated fat. I've been separating egg yolks from whites and tossing the whites for about 10 years now because I pinpointed a long time ago that egg whites were making me very gassy. They upset my stomach. And doing my research, I'm not the only one. It's a very common reaction that people have when they eat eggs, as well as the whites can actually interfere with the absorption of some of the nutrients in the yolks. And so going back to earlier in the video when I said that the quality of fats in chickens wasn't as high as the quality of fat in beef, that is true. However, I always weigh the pros and cons. The cost of eggs, they're nutrient dense, the yolks are, so I can take a little bit of hit in the quality of fat to get the extra nutrition, as well as they make a delicious addition to my diet. Honey. I add about 20 grams of honey to each meal a day, so that gives me about 40 grams of carbohydrates I eat every day. And the reason I do this is because with as active as I am with my training, it just seems to help me a little bit. It just kind of gives me that little extra push. For my workouts, I noticed as far as day-to-day living, I was perfectly fine with 0 carbs. I did that for quite a while. But adding the addition of the 40 grams of honey per day really seemed to just kind of boost my workouts. So I included that so I could just replenish my glycogen in my liver and my muscle cells, after a nice hard day's work. When it comes to honey, we have to think that the bees are the vehicle. So the bees make the honey, and everything that's beneficial in the honey as far as the enzymes and bacterial properties all comes from the bee. This doesn't come from the flower. This is what the bee adds to the nectar it gets from the flower to create the honey that we eat. So again, we always have to think of the animal as the vehicle. Finally, I'm going to leave you guys with the only pitfall that I really encountered since I started eating this way. I can honestly say every aspect of my health has improved since I eliminated plants. The only pitfall I ran into was I dealt with about a month-long bout of diarrhea. And this was something I'd read about, I was expecting it, and I'm going to get graphic here. It was not like my typical diarrhea. I would sit down, kind of take a normal dump, but then almost like water. It was like pissing out of my ass. So that's what would happen every time I would take a shit. And so doing my research, I kept on coming across a lot of information about the fats. The types of fats are very important. That can definitely be causing it. So at the time when I first started eating this way, I was eating quite a bit of bacon, because that's something you do on the keto diet, or you add a lot of bacon to get your fats up, keep your protein at a reasonable level. So I simply eliminated bacon, eliminated all pork, and it cleared up just like that, and it's been smooth sailing ever since. So aside from the diarrhea, it has been an absolutely 100% pleasant experience. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I really enjoy making these things for you guys. And I just put this information out there to maybe reach somebody, help somebody, so that you don't have to go through years of feeling miserable like I did. This is the way it works. When you find something that you're passionate about, something that really helped you, you share it with the people around you. And that's what I'm doing here with all these videos. Until next time, I'm Zach Sprinkle. This is Z-Static.